For much of the last decade, subscription models were treated as the future of consumer tech. Companies across the US embraced recurring payments as a smarter, more predictable alternative to one-time purchases. Smartphones added subscription services, apps locked features behind monthly fees, and even hardware products began shipping with ongoing payment requirements. Investors loved the stability, executives loved the predictable revenue, and customers were told subscriptions meant better experiences. But quietly, that momentum has started to fade. Across consumer tech, companies are pulling back from aggressive subscription strategies, rethinking what customers are actually willing to pay for on a recurring basis. One of the biggest reasons for this shift is subscription fatigue. Consumers are overwhelmed. Between streaming services, cloud storage, productivity tools, fitness apps, gaming passes, and device-related add-ons, monthly fees have piled up. What once felt convenient now feels exhausting. Users are increasingly scrutinizing recurring charges and asking a simple question: is this worth it every month? For many tech subscriptions, the answer has become no. Churn rates have risen, and companies are seeing that retaining subscribers is far harder than acquiring them. Hardware-linked subscriptions have been especially affected. When subscriptions were attached to essential services like music or video, consumers understood the value. But when basic device features were locked behind paywalls, pushback followed. Customers became resistant to paying ongoing fees for functionality they felt should have been included in the original purchase. This backlash forced companies to reconsider how far they could push monetization without damaging trust. Price sensitivity has also increased. Higher inflation and economic uncertainty have made consumers more deliberate about spending. One-time purchases feel safer and more transparent than open-ended commitments. A subscription may look inexpensive at first, but over time, it often costs far more than a single upfront payment. As consumers do the math, many are opting out. Tech companies are responding by offering lifetime licenses, bundled pricing, or optional subscriptions instead of mandatory ones. Another factor driving the shift is the difficulty of delivering continuous value. Subscriptions work best when companies can consistently release meaningful updates or content. In many cases, that cadence proved unsustainable. Feature updates slowed, content libraries plateaued, and users began questioning why they were still paying. When innovation becomes incremental, subscriptions lose their justification. Companies are realizing that not every product benefits from a recurring revenue model. Regulatory pressure is also playing a role. Consumer protection agencies in the US have increased scrutiny on auto renewals, cancellation processes, and transparency around subscription terms. Making it harder to cancel is no longer a viable strategy. As regulations tighten, the economics of subscriptions become less attractive. Easier cancellations mean higher churn, forcing companies to spend more on retention and marketing. Brand perception has become another concern. Aggressive subscription tactics have damaged goodwill for some companies. Consumers increasingly associate forced subscriptions with greed rather than innovation. For brands built on trust and long-term relationships, this is a serious risk. Tech companies are learning that maximizing short-term recurring revenue can undermine long-term loyalty. Pulling back from subscriptions helps repair that relationship. There is also a strategic shift happening internally. Many companies chased subscriptions because investors rewarded recurring revenue metrics. Today, those metrics are being re-evaluated. Growth at all costs is no longer the dominant mindset. Profitability, retention quality, and customer satisfaction matter more. A smaller base of happy customers paying once can be more valuable than a large base of frustrated subscribers constantly threatening to cancel. Software improvements have contributed to this change as well. Modern devices and apps are more stable and complete at launch. They do not require constant updates to remain usable. This reduces the need for ongoing payments. Companies can now justify charging a higher upfront price while offering optional upgrades rather than mandatory subscriptions. Bundling has emerged as a middle ground. Instead of charging for individual subscriptions, companies are grouping services together or including them with hardware purchases. This reduces friction and makes recurring payments feel more reasonable. However, even bundles are being designed with clearer value limits and exit points, reflecting lessons learned from earlier subscription overreach. Importantly, subscriptions are not disappearing entirely. They still make sense for content, heavy services, cloud infrastructure, and products that genuinely evolve over time. What is changing is the assumption that subscriptions are the default monetization model for all consumer tech. Companies are becoming more selective and more realistic about where recurring payments actually fit. This shift reflects a broader maturity in the consumer tech market. Early experimentation with subscriptions revealed both their strengths and their limits. Consumers have become more informed, more cautious, and more empowered to cancel. Tech companies are adapting by simplifying pricing, emphasizing ownership again, and respecting customer choice. In the end, the quiet shift away from subscription models is about alignment. When pricing matches value, customers stay. When it does not, they leave. US consumer tech companies are learning that recurring revenue only works when it genuinely improves the user experience. The future is not subscription-heavy or subscription-free, but more balanced, more transparent, and more respectful of how consumers actually want to pay.